So when you do put this into Desmos, 1200 parentheses shift 6, watch what happens when I put 4 times, where did that 9 go? It went into the bottom, which means you're going to get the wrong answer. So you have to put the 36 as one number. You can't put it in as a product. 0.06 divided by 4. So notice I put in here all of that, and it's 20, 50 point, and in rounding correctly, the thing after the 6 is a 7, which is 5 or higher. So that is 97 cents. So 20, $50 and 97 cents. So that's why I showed this NT, because you have to put it in this way. You can't put it in that way. It'll give you the wrong answer. Now, how many years will it take for the account to contain $2,400? Now, let me show you how to deal with this in Desmos. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back, and instead of 34, I'm going to put 4x. Remember, it doesn't like t. Now I'm going to put it equals 2,400. I'm going to hit home. I'm also going to hit y equals 0, because it's not going to allow us to click on this. Go to the right until you find it, and then scroll in. Ah. 11.639. Now, does it tell us, to round? It says to round to 2 decimal places. So 11.64 years. Now, number or part last. Continuous compounding. A equals PERT. It never shows this formula, and I think that's wrong. And I dislike that. It gives you the first formula, but it never ever gives you that formula. And I am sorry. That's why I always explain this, and I always call it PERT, because it's easier to remember PERT. But continuous compounding. So that's 1200, 0.06, and 9 years. E is just E. E is a specific number, by the way. E to the first power. E is and I forgot what type of, I think it's a transcendental number. And where they got that name, I don't know. But they use it a lot when people go deer hunting. How many deer an ecosystem is able to withstand um, without crashing, and they use it in banking and other things. But 2.718 stuff. So I wanted to show you that. So PERT. So 1200 E shift 6 parenthesis 0.06 times is shift 8 9, and notice this is 2059, and that would round to 0.21. 2059.21. Hang on just a minute, because I've got something extremely important to say. Extremely important to say. About 2051 and 2059. About $9 difference. Okay? Almost 10. These two will always be right about between $3 and $11 in difference. If you're more than $15 difference, then you have probably done it wrong. But these answers are usually between $3 and $10, occasionally 11. But I don't think I've ever seen it more than $13. So that is an extremely important piece of information. When given a formula, use it. One of the most important pieces of statements I have ever told you. Now, 1-to-1. Vertical line test. We've done the vertical line test. Well, if it is 1-to-1, it also passes the horizontal line test. Okay? So if you have a regular line that passes both vertical and horizontal line test. Well, if that line is the vertical line, it doesn't pass. If it is the horizontal line, it doesn't pass. If you have a parabola, it passes the vertical but not the horizontal. If it's odd, it could pass both. If it's like this. However, if it looks like this, it will not. Rational equations A lot of times it will. If it looks like the butterfly, it will. Like this, it will pass both the vertical and the horizontal. The problem is, if it looks like this, it won't. If there's 3 pieces to it. And then there's absolute value, the V shape. It won't pass. Now, that was a lot of information. Steps for finding inverses. Graphically, switch X and Y. And what I meant by switch X and Y, I meant switch the X value with the Y value. Now, algebraically, and I need to type this. Switch X and Y, then solve for Y, then decide I can't spell today. If there needs to be a condition put on the new equation. So for this, and on this one, I want to show you how to do this, but then I want to go to XYZ and show you one like this, okay? Switch X and Y, so X equals Y squared minus 1. Now, parentheses or exponents, multiply or divide, add or subtract. Okay? So the first thing I get rid of is the minus by adding. Choppa choppa. Now there's no multiplier divide, so there is an exponent. The opposite of that exponent is to take the square root. Remember, it's both plus and minus. So, y is plus and minus the square root of x plus 1. All right? That's how you find the inverse algebraically. Now, it says choose the original, choose the inverse, choose the neithers. There's 4 options. So you've got 1 original, 1 inverse, and 2 neithers. So let me go to Desmos real quick. X squared minus 1 shows it down here. Okay? And actually, I guess I don't really have to go to XYZ because I could show it to you in the regular way. Okay? So the original showed like this. And I'm going to just put neithers together. One of the neithers would show up like this. And then whoops, I forgot to share this tab. The original would show up like this. The neither that looks like the original. Notice the original is below the x-axis. The neither is above the x-axis. Now, x plus 1 negative square root x plus 1. Notice where the original was at -1. This is at -1 on the y-axis. This is at -1 on the x-axis. So the inverse so -1 here, -1 here. And this one's also